Good morning, metalheads of the internet, and welcome to a brand new episode of the Metal Meltdown. Today we're going to talk about the brand new album from Decapitated entitled Cancer Culture, but before we do that, I want to first let y'all know that by popular demand, the Metal Meltdown will be hosting the third and final installment of our Heavy Metal Super Smash Bros. Tournament series this coming Monday, May 30th, Memorial Day. For all my American peeps out there, we go live at 2 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and oh my lord, are we going to fucking party. I have been planning this for a while, and I've been doing so because you've been asking for this for a while, and I promise it's gonna be spectacular. So join us Monday, May 30th, Memorial Day, 2 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. There's a link in the description of this video. I cannot wait to fucking see y'all there, to fucking party with you. So yeah, just be there. You fucking idiot. Now that we got that out of the way, now that I'm done promoting my own fucking garbage, let's talk about somebody else's garbage. Let's talk about Cancer Culture, the 8th studio album from Polish extreme metal crew Decapitated. One of the most anticipated albums of the year for many people. This is the band's first studio album in 5 years, and more importantly, their first studio album since having been criminally charged with rape, sexual assault, and kidnapping back in 2017 while on tour with Thy Art Is Murder. After being detained in Spokane, Washington for roughly 5 to 6 months, Decapitated were released. In January of 2018, they were allowed to return home, and all charges against them were dropped with prejudice, which does mean this still could go to trial at some point in the near future, but for the time being, Decapitated are free men. Just so we're clear, folks, I'm not at all interested in discussing the details of the case. I'm not a lawyer, I'm not a detective, I'm not a judge, I don't know Decapitated or the woman in question or anyone representing them legally on any kind of personal or professional level. I'm just some guy on the internet. The only reason I bring this whole event up is because this series of unfortunate events has absolutely had a profound impact on the development and the production of this record. And I mean this both musically and thematically. Musically, this is perhaps the most urgent and poignant and pissed off thing that Decapitated have released in quite some time. I will concede that the record is not sonically as brutal as something like Anti-Cult, not in my opinion at least. I would also argue that the album is simultaneously the band's most accessible record, with a lot of aggressive but straightforward melodies and a lot of thrashy, groove-laden rhythms that would not be out of place on a Trivium or a Machine Head record. Speaking of Machine Head, Rob Flynn himself makes an appearance on the record, as does Tatiana from Ginger. But despite that, yeah, there's plenty of urgency, poignancy, pissed offery. Decapitated is still Decapitated. They have not compromised. But thematically as well, it becomes very clear very quickly that Decapitated are not really happy with the state of the world right now, and they're especially not happy with how this case was handled in the media over the course of the past few years. They go as far as to heavily imply that they themselves were cancelled in the title track Cancer Culture, writing "Unfollow and report, so easy to feel better throwing digital rocks. Smug righteous citizen chained to his desk, made of the tree of knowledge playing God and gaining weight." And this, right off the bat, is where me and Decapitated have some problems. First off, I've no issue with Decapitated wanting to write about cancel culture. If any band has earned the right to talk about cancel culture in these past few years, it is probably Decapitated. But this is just so cliche and bottom of the barrel because there's no real attempt to actually engage in meaningful conversation about cancel culture. Instead, Decapitated would rather just rant and rave about sad fat liberals who fucking reported their music videos or unfollowed them on Twitter or some bullshit. Like, these lyrics unironically sound like the same type of lazy, juvenile rhetoric I would find spewing from the orifices of Louder with Chowder on a regular basis. Now, to be fair, it's really only the title track that is about what some people would describe as cancer culture. The rest of the album is more so about describing culture as if it is plagued by a cancer-like virus, and in some instances just literally talking about cancer. A great example of the latter would be the track Just a Cigarette, which is framed from the perspective of somebody who is addicted to smoking, who is addicted to cigarettes, and is trying to downplay the harmful side effects of smoking in order to warrant having another cigarette. There's an honesty and a simplicity to the lyrics that I find really endearing, and the track itself is a bona fide fucking rager, filled with aggressive, battering rhythms and gnarly, complex walls of towering, oppressive guitar wizardry. This is also a great example of Decapitated being more accessible than they were on prior studio albums. This whole thing kind of has the drive and the muscle of something I would expect from the Blackening and Unto the Locust era Machine Head. As does the throttling and provocative Iconoclast, which not so coincidentally even features Rob Flynn doing guest vocals in the song's bridge. And I gotta say, he fits in quite nicely with the Decapitated crew. The same, however, cannot be said for Ginger's Tatiana Shimaliuk, who shows up on the track Hello Death. Yeah, this ain't doing it for me. I will say I like the track Hello Death as a whole. Like, there are a lot of really complex and over-the-top, almost mathcore kind of grooves and percussive beatdowns, contrasted with some really sharp, aggressive riffery. It is on a technical level a very mesmerizing and powerful song. Like, the full musicianship of Decapitated is very much on display here, but Tatiana's clean vocals feel very tacked on. I know the Ginger stands will get mad at me again for daring to imply that Tatiana is not a goddess who never does wrong, but yeah, she's not a goddess. She sometimes does wrong. Hello Death is a great example. I think my favorite cuts on the record would be Suicide Space Program and Last Supper, the former of which is one of the most brutal cuts on the record, and it even packs some, like, really distinct 90s groove metal vibes with some riffs and a guitar solo that would not be out of place on an Exhorder record and a Pantera record, respectively. While the latter of which is just a really strong album closer. I like how it starts off really in-your-face and violent and abrasive, and then gets a little bit more melodic, and then gets a little bit more progressive, and actually ends on the same military-style drum beat that the album opens on. The production of the record is punchy, dynamic, muscular, everything you kind of want from like a modern, extreme death metal record. Performances are all top-notch, duh, and with the exception of the title track, Cancer Culture, I really do find myself enjoying a vast majority of the material on this record. I'm not blown away by it, and there are some little bits and pieces that I would maybe change or edit or switch around, but yeah, all things considered, this is a mostly triumphant return for Decapitated. Had Cancer Culture, the track, been more interesting and also just had been more lyrically clever, I think I might have given this a 4 out of 5. But the album as a whole, I'm going to give a very enthusiastic 3.5 out of 5. Like, I really enjoyed a good chunk of this record. I would happily listen to it again. I wouldn't mind listening to it on vinyl, in all honesty. Like, this would inspire some gnarly fucking pits right here in my apartment. I have a feeling my review is going to be one of the more negative out there. I have a feeling that this is going to be a very, very, very popular record, and if that's the case, good for Decapitated. I'm curious to see where this takes them. I'm curious to see if they can expand on some of these themes in a more legitimate and intelligent manner in the future. So yeah, there you have it. Not a perfect ride. Kind of dumb, kind of cringy sometimes, but you know, the stuff that's good is really, really fucking good. So I stand by my 3.5 out of 5, warts and all. This is a pretty strong record. And that is it for the Metal Meltdown. I'm not an expert, nor do I claim to be, so what do you think? Do you like this record? Do you not like this record? And what do you want to hear from me next? And thank you for watching. Make sure you press subscribe right here so you get updates on the Metal Meltdown fucking immediately. And as always, you have yourself a fantastic fucking day.